Chefeteers, I'm Chef Takia and I want you to be more confident in the kitchen. And if you are hosting a dinner party coming up here, I want you to be super confident and have a great time hosting. So I have put together this winter dinner party menu package to help you execute a beautiful, stress-free dinner party. Now, personally, I love cooking with the seasons, and so that is why I've created this winter dinner party menu. I also have dinner party menus for spring, summer, and fall, which I will be sharing throughout the year. So if you are hosting a dinner party in, April or July, don't worry, I've got you covered to use fresh seasonal produce in those seasons also. So if you go to the description box and click on the link there, that will take you to the menu package download. So everything that I am talking you through, I have available for you to download if you want to utilize this for your next dinner party. And this menu package includes 5 recipes, a shopping list, a prep time list, and even a cute menu that you can print off to put at each guest's seat if you would like. So some of my favorite winter seasonal produce to cook with includes beets and fennel, parsnips and butternut squash. And then for more of the greens side, Swiss chard and kale are usually going to be pretty delicious this time of year. As far as fruits go, you can use passion fruit and lemon and tangerine. Citrus fruits are typically great in the wintertime, so lemon and tangerine for sure, along with cranberries and pomegranate. And let's see and then a couple other popular mentions, noticeable mentions, whatever, would be broccoli. I don't remember if I said parsnips already or not, but if I didn't, or if I did just a second time, parsnips. Sometimes you can't even find them in the grocery store other times of year, so have fun with them now. And avocado, and then endive. Endive is another nice leaf. It is pretty light and delicate. So typically during the wintertime when we're thinking about fresh produce, you either have some of the really delicate light flavors from the very beginning whisper of spring and fresh blooms, along with heartier flavors. So the potatoes and the butternut squashes and some of those heartier root vegetables that can survive some of the cold. Of course, with our interconnected global food system in contemporary times, we can enjoy a lot of produce, a lot of different types of produce throughout the year, but you may find that some of these ingredients that I mentioned are the most flavorful, or they have the most intense flavor this time of year. And then there may be other ingredients that you love cooking with in the summertime that you may find when you buy it in the winter, they just taste a little bland. All right, so to get into this menu package, I will start by explaining the 5 recipes that I've included as they would go throughout the day. And then after that, I will walk you through very briefly the timeline of how, if I'm putting together this dinner party, how I like to prep and execute these dishes. So we start with a welcoming bite. I typically like to do this because when people arrive for the dinner party, I feel usually they want a drink in their hand and a little bite, amuse-bouche, something to kind of get the party started, right? Especially if you don't know everybody at this dinner party very well and you're introducing yourself to some new people. It can be nice to have, a glass in your hand to kind of, if you're a fidgeter, right, you might not fidget quite as much. Or if you are eating something, then you may not feel pressure to like have to talk too much, right? You can kind of like hide behind your food just a little bit, right? Just a little bit maybe. So I do recommend always having some type of like welcoming bite available when people arrive at your home. So our welcoming bite is an amuse-bouche skewer. It is a green olive, a little slice of prosciutto, and some cheese. So the idea with that is with one hand, guests can pick it up and eat it, and then they have a little toothpick, so they don't have to try to manage like a plate and a fork or anything weird like that. So, right, just a nice, simple finger food. Now the salad is a citrus and avocado salad. Right, I said citrus is usually really delicious this time of year. Avocados are great, and this salad is on a bed of sliced bok choy. So it has a little bit of like an Asian feel to it, but the citrus is so juicy that you don't even necessarily need to add another dressing on top of it. That juiciness from the citrus and the creaminess from the avocado really takes the place of a dressing. So it's a really delicious salad and one that you may actually want to enjoy throughout the year. Oh, and pardon me, I kind of skipped the cocktail. So we're gonna do a blood orange old fashioned. And this is just a fun twist on the classic old fashioned, adding a little bit of fresh squeezed blood orange juice, again, embracing that citrus. All right, so for our entree, we are doing savory crepes. So for this, yes, you need to cook your crepes ahead of time and have those ready, but then fillings wise, you can have a lot of fun creating a few different filling options, and then people can build themselves their perfect savory crepe. So this is a great way to have an entree at your dinner party that you only need to create some components for. You don't have to actually like plate it all up for each person, right? Each person gets to go in and make it their own and add more or less of whichever fillings are really speaking to them. And then lastly, we are doing a caramel fudge cheesecake. It is decadent and delicious, great for the winter time when we want some of those comforting, really chocolatey, rich flavors. And what I love about the cheesecake too is you can make this several days ahead of time and keep it in the freezer, even like weeks ahead of time if you really want to, and keep it in the freezer. And as you're doing more of the prep closer to your dinner party, you know that dessert's already handled, it's taken care of. You can focus on those other dishes. So speaking of prep, let's get into that prep timeline right now. So as I mentioned, you can make the cheesecake plenty of time ahead of time. If you don't want to make it super far ahead of time, I would at least recommend starting on it 2 days before your event, because you are going to want to give the cheesecake plenty of time to cool, and cheesecakes take a while to bake also. So like the baking and then the cooling part, you don't want to have to be thinking about that while you're cooking the other stuff. So 1 to 2 days before your event, go ahead and just get that cheesecake made and in the fridge. If it's a few weeks ahead, you can put it in the freezer and then pull it back to the fridge a day before to let it thaw. And then the day before your event, these are optional day before your event tasks. So these are like, if you wanna just get ahead on things, you can absolutely do these a day ahead of time and they will still be really great the next day when you go to eat. But you don't have to necessarily do them. But for your savory crepes, you can peel and dice and roast your sweet potato, which is one of the fillings options. You can also like dice up your tomatoes, onion, and parsley and have that in little food storage containers ready to go. And then for your citrus and avocado salad, you can slice up your bok choy and your citrus fruits. Wash and chop your bok choy and citrus fruits and have those in a bowl ready to go. And then the amuse-bouche skewers, you can actually just get those completely ready the day before. They are gonna be totally fine in a food storage container in the fridge overnight. Make sure it is like a sealed food storage container. That way you don't have too much air movement and nothing dries out. But those you can definitely just, and you don't have to think about doing anything other than pulling those out of the fridge the day of. Now, moving on to the day of your event, at least 4 hours before people plan to arrive, be sure that you have your cheesecake done, your sweet potato roasted, your tomatoes and parsley and onion washed and chopped, and your amuse-bouche skewers done, along with for your citrus and avocado salad, you want that bok choy and those citrus fruits washed and chopped and in a bowl ready to go. So that is pre 4 hours ready. So now let's say we're at 4 hours before the party. You can go ahead and start making your crepe batter. And you wanna mix this up and then give it some time to sit in the fridge, because as you are mixing the batter together, little air bubbles are going to form. So allowing it to sit in the fridge lets some of those air bubbles dissipate. If you just go straight into cooking your crepes without first letting those air bubbles dissipate, then your crepes may be too fragile and they may tear as you're cooking them. So while you're waiting for that batter to rest, you can mix up your blood orange old fashions, and you can just put this in like a pitcher so that people can serve themselves. You can also take your cheesecake and slice it up and then put that back in the fridge, and you don't have to touch it again until dessert time. By this time, your crepe batter should be ready to cook, so you can go ahead and heat up a pan and cook off all of those crepes. If you have a tortilla warmer, you can keep your crepes in a tortilla warmer. And then about 1 hour before your guests arrive, you're gonna want to pull those amuse-bouche skewers out of the fridge. You can put them on whatever platter you love, and go ahead and caramelize the onions for your savory crepes filling. At this point, you can also sear off your steak for those savory crepes, and any other if you wanted to add other proteins, go ahead and cook those. You want the fillings to be relatively fresh, so that's why we're waiting until 1 hour before guests arrive. But because we've prepped the salad and the drink and the appetizer bite ahead of time, it's really one of the only things that you need to focus on. So then as guests arrive, you can be pouring the blood orange old fashions, inviting them to have an amuse-bouche skewer, and then pull out your citrus and avocado salad. If you have not yet shaved ginger on top, go ahead and do that, and along with slicing the avocado and adding that on top. The avocado will oxidize, so that is why this is one of those pretty last minute things I like to do within a few minutes of everybody sitting down and serving the salad to them. Also, any other salad garnishes you can just toss on at the end here. And then because we created each of the components for our savory crepes ahead of time, now all you have to do is pull everything out and allow everybody to create their own perfect crepe for themselves. Once everybody is done eating, then you can pull that cheesecake out of the fridge, and ta-da, you have dessert and the finish to a stress-free, delicious dinner party. So if this sounds like the type of dinner party menu that you would love cooking for your friends or family, feel free to go to that link in the description box, and you can download the recipes and the shopping list and the timeline, right? The prep timeline is really meant to help you stress less and be able to execute a really amazing dinner party. You can also utilize that timeline, but if you have people who want to help you, you can kind of highlight different things on the timeline and assign them to different people. So that can be very helpful for that also. And oh, I almost forgot, but there is like a printable menu card on there, so you can very easily share with all of your guests exactly what you are going to be cooking. If this dinner party menu sounds kind of good, but you want to make some adjustments, maybe you have several vegetarian people joining, or you want to specifically try a different ingredient, let me know. Along with purchasing the menu package, there should be an option there where you can write in a little note, and I would be more than happy to work with you to create a winter dinner party menu that suits you and your guests perfectly. So yeah, let me know if you want to make a few substitutions but you're not exactly sure how to. I love helping people customize my meals to be perfect for them. Well, chefeteers, I hope that if you are hosting a dinner party anytime soon, you find this menu helpful. And if you are hosting dinner parties in the spring, summer, or fall, no worries. I will be sharing those menu packages throughout the year. Thank you so much, chefeteers. I hope this helps you be more confident in the kitchen and host stress-free, joyful dinner parties.